Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the digitalRead Serial Communication Challenge. So I'm glad you're here. It means that you're trying things on your own, or you should be trying things on your own before you check this out. Okay, because if you don't, you get cursed. It's the truth. First challenge, it was, let's change the serial.println function to serial.print. So let's go ahead. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take off the ln. Notice that print is still keyword. Print is actually a function of the serial library. And what we're trying to do here is see what's the difference between serial print line and serial print. But you know what? I'm going to take that back. Let's put that back and let's go ahead and verify the sketch and upload it. And then let's see what it normally does. Okay, so let's do the serial monitor here. Okay, so I'm getting zeros. I press the button, I get ones. So this should be what you're familiar with. Close that, and I'm going to make that change. And I'm going to verify, upload, and then I'm going to do the serial monitor. And I'm just using the keys. I'm going Shift Command M. Whoa, what's this going on here? I got zeros going across the screen. What happens when I press the 1? Oh, there's a 1. So the only difference here between print and print line is that print line, after it prints out that value, it doesn't enter, like a return button. And so you'd see the next number down here, return, return, return. But print, it doesn't put that return in. It just keeps going and going and going. So this, it really depends on how you want to look at the information, the data coming off. Like if you like to see cooler looking streams of ones and zeros, I kind of like this, because I can manipulate it like that. But if you have larger numbers coming off, then it makes it a lot easier with print line. That way you can see each individual value on its own line, and it makes reading and kind of just mentally decoding those values a whole lot easier. Okay, so that is it with the difference between print and print line, so not too bad. Okay, now the next challenge was, can we change the push button variable? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the circuit on the Arduino. I'm going to move it from pin 2 to pin 3. So I'm pulling out so all I do is I pull the jumper wire out from 2 and I stick it in 3, and then here I change it to 3. That's all I have to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and verify this, upload it, and we'll go ahead and monitor the serial port. Look at that, I'm getting zeros. I press, I'm getting ones. Working exactly the same, no difference here. So you can see I can use any of the digital pins for this. And in fact, as we'll get into later, you can actually use the analog pins for this too. So, that's fun and all, but let's try to break something. That makes this a little more interesting. Let's go ahead and try, what if we do pin 1? And then when I'm going to come down here, I'm going to go back to print line because I prefer that output. So we've got pin 1. What's significant about pin 1? Well, if you look on your Arduino board, there is a TX next to pin 1. What does that mean? Well, that means that when the Arduino board is transmitting information, it uses pin 1 in order to do that. Sometimes you have issues if you're trying to collect information off of pin 2, say from a button like us, and then you're also using it to transmit. So let's go ahead and just verify and upload, and then let's go ahead and serial monitor. Okay, so that's kind of weird. I'm getting a bunch of ones. I'm not even pressing the button, so I should be getting zeros. Okay, so now I press the button, and notice I get a weird character kind of pops up when I press that button. So what's going on here? Well, it's all kind of funky, but the bottom line is that your Arduino, when it uses serial communications, uses the number 1 pin to transmit information. And when you try to dual purpose out that pin and transmit a bunch of information at the same time, you're probably gonna, it's very high potential that you're gonna run into troubles like this weird stuff that's going on. So the pull away from this is, if you're gonna be doing a lot of transmitting and collecting information on pin 2, on pin 1, you might consider changing the pin number. So if you have another pin open, instead of using pin 1 to collect information from, say, a button like us, use another pin. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's try pin 0. So I'm going to change that to pin 0, and I'm going to move my circuit to pin 0. Now, what's significance about pin 0? Well, if you look on your Arduino board, there is an RX next to pin 0, and that's for receive, and that's one of the lights. There's those two lights next to the pin 13 LED built on your board, the transmit and receive lights, and those blink when these pins are up to stuff. So let's go ahead and verify this, and let's upload it. Oh, what's this? Oh, I'm getting an error. That doesn't like that. Well, see, the Arduino is trying to receive information right now, and I have a pin. I've got my circuit set up on that receive pin, and so it wow, oh, I've got a circle. That's probably not good. So some atypical stuff is happening here. Okay, so what do I do? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna hit verify, because that's one way of just kind of stopping that upload. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the pin out. So now I'm just going to leave it open-ended. Okay, so I've pulled out my jumper wire from the Arduino that was stuck in the 0 header. Okay, now I'm going to try uploading it again. Oh, hey, look at that. It uploaded perfectly well. Now I'm going to take the pin and I'm going to put it back in there. Put it back in. Alright, and I'll do a serial monitor. Hey, there's 0. That looks mostly right. Let me hit the button. Hey, and there's 1. So pin 0, works just fine for the most part. I just had to disconnect it when I uploaded the sketch to the Arduino. So, that's kind of one workaround. Generally, when the point I was trying to make here is that I generally don't start, with pin 0 and 1 when I'm trying to assign pins. I usually start at 2 or somewhere thereabouts, because you don't know how you're going to transmit and receive necessarily. But that being said, if you have to use those pins, if you're running out of pins on your Arduino board, there's no reason you can't use them. You just have to be careful about when you use them. So don't be afraid to use pin 1 and 0. Just know when they can and can't be used. So that's pretty much it. Again, and I just want to recap this. So if you're using pin 0, just be aware that you need to have it out when you upload the board, or you might have some issues there. You don't want a circuit connected to it when you're uploading. You might have some issues. And if you're going to be receiving data a lot during the program, that also might cause issues if you're using pin 0. But if you're not receiving data, then hey, it's fair game. Now, pin 1, if you're not transmitting any information, if you're not using the serial library, then it's fair game. Pin 1 is. So don't be afraid to use pin 1 or pin 0. Just know when they're going to be utilized by the Arduino, and there you go. Alright, so that was a challenge. Again, what you should really do when you try these challenges on yourself is try to break the programs, try to explore different things. Don't just stick with the challenge I give you, but just really mess around and play around and see what you can break. So, and I've messed around a lot with mine, and I have not fried my Arduino yet, which says a lot. So hey, great. Thanks again. Thanks so much for listening, and I can't wait to see you at the next tutorial. Take it easy. Bye.